detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again on the Thrill Me podcast. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Good.
Solid.
You both sounds vibe about tonight's film, which is part of the Conjuring universe, Annabelle Creation from 2017. Before we get into that though, we'll do a quick up or down. I posted this trailer to our Facebook, and it is called Final Score. It stars Dave Bautista, and it seems to be very reminiscent of Van Damme's Sudden Death.
Just a bit.
From 95 or something.
Reminiscent or derivative?
I think it might be very derivative of that. Thoughts, up or down on this one?
I'll watch it.
You watch it. Jared, thoughts? Being a connoisseur of Sudden Death, you're a Sudden Death
Probably,
fan.
I don't know. It's hard to say up because it looks pretty generic, but I always thought Sudden Death was a pretty cool idea for an action flick. So I could watch another. Like look, as Gibbo said, it looks like the same thing. Pierce Brosnan looks like he's going to provide a few chuckles as a Russian, whatever he is. Ray Stevenson's a good actor.
Yeah. Batista always. Oh, I actually don't mind the guy.
Yeah, I don't mind him. My qualm is lead man. I'm not sure how he goes as the leading guy, but I don't mind him at all as an actor. But happy to see how he goes. So I don't know if I'd say I'm up, but I'll just sneaking into.
You'll say you'll be
territory.
there though.
Yeah.
I don't have enough time to get through my Netflix.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to make it to that.
Look,
That's all right, it'll be on there.
It'll be on there. I suggest this will not go to cinemas here in Australia. I don't think we'll see it. To me, it looks very much like something will end up on DVD or direct to streaming or something like that.
It might go the Annihilation route, where they release it in the States and it just doesn't do very well and they just punt it straight to Netflix.
Straight to Netflix or one of those streaming services picks it up. I'm a bit with you, Jared. I always thought Sudden Death was a good idea, and I actually thought Sudden Death as a movie wasn't too bad.
Yeah, very out there, but
it was okay. And as far as Die Hard rip-offs went, it was pretty good. I don't know, other than Brosnan giving me, quasi-Russian accent, it just looks a bit similar to that sort of stuff.
They missed the World Cup fever.
Yeah, I know, they could have whipped that out during World Cup time.
Could have Ricky Martin show up. So much potential. It reeks of like a John Cena Marine sort of film, I think. Like it's going to be B grade at best.
It reeks of a WWE film?
Yeah. 100%, and it's probably going to be. It's probably cheap to make. Like they're not going to have to. It's not like they built the stadium for it. They just they put them on site and blew some shit up. So
I'm glad someone finally cast Pierce Brosnan as a villain because he always looked like a bit of an arsehole. So I think he'll fit the role.
Fit the role, okay.
He does play the smarmy prick very well.
Yeah. So look, I'll probably be there, but I'd suggest it'll be on Stan or Amazon or something.
They won't be getting me to Limelight for it.
Yes, they will.
At least I can redeem some popcorn. Limelight VIPs, thanks very much.
Oh dear. Alright, okay, well let's take a break and let's get into Annabelle Creation.
Ed and Lorraine Warren met her in 1971. But her story began long before then. On August 11th,
I found this doll.
That doll was hidden away.
witness the creation of evil. Annabelle Creation, rated R.
Annabelle Creation from 2017, directed by David F. Sandberg, who did Lights Out, produced by Peter Safran and James Wan, and the screenplay was by Gary Dauberman, who also did the first Annabelle, and I think he may have been involved in It. I think he also was one of the writers on It. It stars Anthony LaPaglia as Samuel Mullins, Samara Lee as Bea, and Miranda Otto as Esther Mullins. Budget was $15 million, and it pulled in $306 million worldwide.
That's a good
so more than
thing.
Xander Cage.
Shocking.
More than Xander Cage. Now, this is also on Internet Movie Database, so I can't 100% confirm if this is correct, but it says This was associated with a controversial short horror movie contest in which Warner Brothers would legally own the contest winner's idea for 3 years and have the option to develop a full feature out of it, while only being obligated to compensate the contestant with $100 US and a chance to meet the director. And then it said in brackets, if available.
You just made a fortune off my story, but you can't get the bloke to show up.
Imagine that.
So you got 100 quid, and by the way, the director's not here today.
Oh, you'd be so dirty.
But yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like a Hollywood Studios kind of
Type of thing.
You'd be shaking that guy's hand, surely. Thanks for
Well, not the directors.
He wasn't there. Alright, I'm going to go first. Look, it's got solid atmosphere. It's got a couple of really unsettling moments. It does do that quite well. But there's not really much plot. There's not really much characterisation. And it does get super repetitive in the middle. But it's not too bad. I gave it 2.5 out of 5. I thought it met what I was pretty much after, but it didn't exceed. Like something like The Conjuring took a lot of those tropes and did something with them.
Yeah.
This just gave you the tropes down the line.
Yeah.
This is what you get. So 2.5. I think it's solid but not spectacular. Gibbo.
Very similar, and for the same exact reason. I'll probably go with a 3 on the low side of 3, but the first like probably 20 to 25, maybe even 30 minutes, the stuff where the doll's doing things and yet there's a lot of stuff happening in the background and things is pretty good. As you mentioned, the scene with the sheet, that sort of stuff, that's where it needed to be. And then when it comes into the demon stuff, it just started to lose a lot of it. And there's a lot of things where anytime there's a bit of the field of view that you've got is blacked out, something's coming out of it. Anytime that goes quiet, something's going to jump out. Like they go to the well so often with the same thing, it does get a bit repetitive. And I think it was a bit too long as well. It probably could have done with about 20 minutes shorter. But other than that, like it was fine. I really enjoyed the first 15, and after that it was just sort of plateaued. So 3 stars.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty much sitting where you guys are. I gave it a 2. I found it a bit slow at times, but like it kept my interest. But I don't know, there was nothing really that grabbed me to make me want to watch it again. So the characters were okay, but there wasn't really a lot going on. Anthony O'Pally was a bit stiff.
Oh yeah,
But
He's barely in it.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing.
Was he the headline? Was he like the number one
Well,
build?
he's top billed as far as I can tell.
I thought the girl that was in the wheel, like the girl with polio, whatever she had, I thought she was really strong. But
Yeah, the girls were solid.
Some
Yeah,
of the
the
kids
kids
are
were okay, but again, also it jumps around as to who's kind of the protagonist too.
yeah.
But I don't know, I didn't understand why the demon was doing what it was doing 100%.
That's not explained ever.
So it sort of lost me a little bit there.
Yeah.
So 2 for me.
Jared?
Yeah, I ended up. I was nearly where Gibbo was. I was thinking, for the first half of the movie, I was at a 3. I thought this is far better than it's got any right to be.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, given that I'd seen Lights Out, and as you said, Adam, The Conjuring, was built around those jump scares. I actually thought it was quite patient. Like the directing was quite sort of measured with the scares. It wasn't just jump scares, but eventually the lack of plot got to it. Like it stretched a lot of scenes out because it didn't have a lot of story, and then when the story hit, it was completely unsatisfying, and it probably should have been something more related to the little girl and not the demon that we ended up getting. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with how it looked, pretty impressed with the direction for the most part. The acting was pretty good. I was expecting it to be a dead set turkey, so to get a film that I was, for the most part, I was thinking a 3 and then sort of settled in a 2.5. I was pretty happy with it. Especially after having to watch Triple X last week. I was absolutely thrilled to be watching this movie.
It was definitely one of the better films on my list this week, that's for sure. So I've got the high marks then. I've gone top there for this one. Wow.
To me too, just coming back to you saying how kind of like not much was happening, they kind of ran out of ideas, and that's the thing that always baffles me about this. It's at 1 hour and 49 minutes, but you knew it, you didn't have that. What?
Make it 80.
What made you think that can't be cut down?
Yeah.
Like I didn't really understand that, because like you, I think at a breezy 85 minutes, I probably would have got 3 stars from me because it would have cut a lot of the shit out.
Well, there's three nights in a row where there's the same sort of, like, the demon's trying to work its way in. You could make that one night.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be have that bit in the middle where that's where it really feels fat.
Because it's not like the stuff in between isn't really advancing the characters all that much.
No.
It's just
Not
more
at
of the
all.
same note over and over again.
It's sort of drip feeding a little bit about the girl and the sense of that stuff, but also LaPaglia and
Miranda Otto.
they are dead set. They were 2 days' work.
Well, yeah.
Like they were. Like they're not even in it. I mean, Miranda Otto just disappears after the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. And then comes back as the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
The old porcelain face mask never failed to make someone look way better. Like, you're better off walking around with a crater in your face than that thing, aren't you? Like, that doesn't creep more people out than anything. The fake eye drawn on
it makes you look like a Picasso because the eyes on the cheek. Nowhere near in line with the other one. But,
All right, let's dive into the likes. I think the atmosphere is built up reasonably well, and I actually love the fact that the house is kind of that gothic type of. It's out in a farm sort of.
The isolation.
But it's got that gothic style mansion almost look about it.
Yeah, it looks a bit like the house from
where these kids
Amityville.
Yeah.
I like the scene. I like that scene where the kids are going through this house, just like, I can't believe their luck that they've been put into this place.
Yeah, that particular shot is a like of mine when they're walking through the house and they just do this single shot, really well choreographed, of people showing up at a door and Natalia delivering a line and opening a door, and then this camera just follows them through and that was really great.
The doll is super creepy looking.
Yeah,
and they
all
shoot
these
it
dolls
most
were.
of the time in shadow.
Well, the eyes look like real eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of it. I was looking at it this time and I'm like, why does it look so creepy? And it's because it looks like a fucking person looking at you. Like the eyes look like a real person's eyes on you. So even though the rest of the face is,
kind of
a little unrealistic,
over exaggerated,
but the eyes are just like,
it's a shade of dead as well.
Yeah, a little bit like a geisha or something like that, where they've just got that. They're so pale and everything's washed out, sort of thing. But dolls just in general, I had that as a thing. Like, it's one of those things you have that in your movie straight away. You've got just automatic atmosphere and dread sort of thing, because they're just creepy motherfuckers. Yeah. It's the same as when we had the mannequins in the movie with Kiefer Sutherland. Mannequins are creepy. Dolls are creepy. They're just because something's just not quite right about them.
Even something like Dead Silence, which is a more of a pretty average sort of doll film, which is another one of James Wan's early ones, that even had those moments of creepiness because of the doll, you know. So it's always a really nice sort of horror movie staple. If you can get it in there, it works.
Yeah.
And in this case, it works well because they do a lot of night shoots, so everything's in darkness. There's a lot of shadow around it. You don't see it in full. The one failure is when it actually comes out in the day and it's sitting at the table, and that's where you can see it in full, and it's kind of not as
it loses the impact.
Well done, The girl getting hit by the car.
Yeah,
That's
real.
a rock solid scene.
Yeah, and it was shocking.
They cut away right at the last minute as it's about to hit her.
Yeah,
you're watching for starters, when they're calling a bee, I was thinking it's Annabelle. I kind of got that, so I'm thinking there's something going to happen to her. But I wasn't expecting it to be that quick and to happen as it did. Like, he's just changed the tyre. I wasn't even thinking she's going to get hit here. Yeah. And then she's runs into the road. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And then the shot that they showed it from was like, oh.
And it basically zooms up on it, and then they cut away to the ground, and then you see the doll go.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they made. I don't know whether the girl just happened to share features or they purposely made her up to look like that. But she actually looked she looked like the doll.
She had doll characteristics for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they...
Especially with the miniature doll in the dollhouse. That was her, obviously, like a little replica. But it actually reminded me of Gage in Pet Sematary as well. The same thing. We've got this little cute little kid that's just completely innocent and just gets mowed at the start of the movie. It sets a tone straight away.
Yeah, they used a similar thing, like him in the shoes.
Yeah.
The way that they had her doll's face just hit the ground.
Yeah, and then sort of cracks up.
The face all cracked up.
Yeah, and he was chasing a kite, whereas she's chasing a wheel nut. It's just one of those innocent things that could easily happen.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
There was a couple of really unsettling sequences in the opening 45 minutes for me. There's a bit where she's looking out the window when she first gets there, and there's everything behind her is out of focus. And you see the door go,
Yeah.
and it looks like a little girl
see the
walking up
girl,
behind her, but it doesn't come into focus, so you can't actually see it properly.
Yeah.
So those kind of
That's all the
scares
stuff I
are-
liked at the start.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
far better than a jump scare.
The suspense stuff, yeah.
And it's-
The photo with the nuns,
Yeah.
where the nuns
Yeah, who's
changing.
this one at the side? Yeah.
Just keeping that out of focus is the whole thing of your imagination's going to run wild because you can't actually see what it is. So you're thinking, oh, it's the little girl, but is she like fucked up? Is she like a ghost or like?
Yeah.
So you're thinking about that and scaring yourself rather than just boom.
That's the stuff, and the other stuff that worked really well is the stuff that you can relate to is from when you were a little kid. Like when the other little girl's shooting that pop gun out into the hallway.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
Fishing.
all of a sudden
Grabs
fishing.
it.
Yeah, but then when she's on the top bunk,
Yeah.
and she looks down, she sees the footprints, and you're like, "Fuck!" It's on the bottom bunk. Like
Yeah.
and everyone when they're little had that thing. You're like, "Oh, something's here." You're like, whether you're walking in the dark or something when you're little, you've got that dread. And she looks down, and the doll's looking up at her, and then the hand go like, she is laying there terrified until she falls asleep and wakes up the next day. Like everyone had done that when they were little. That's the sort of thing you can really put yourself in their shoes.
Exactly.
It's got a lot more effectiveness.
Yeah, it's not just loud noises.
Yeah,
which
not
is
someone
basically what
jumping
some of them sort of go for.
Yeah, even the chairlift scene where she's trying to escape on the chairlift and the switch, like she's going back up and can't do anything. It's just simple things, but you've automatically got this built-in dread.
Yeah, the sheet.
Yeah,
That was cool. Yeah,
I was the
the
start.
kind you can see it moving, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, the start of that scene, I was just thinking the door opening. This is just like gonna bug me. It's just opening door. That's not all that creepy. That's just it's generic.
it's a dodgy latch.
But then she throws the sheet over it, and the background bit of the sheet
Standing up.
like that was excellent.
Yeah,
And the one that got me though was the two girls in that little they had their sheet over the top of them, and they were sitting in the middle of the room.
and
then you hear the ringing bell.
Yeah.
And you see the hag or whatever it is. And it's like,
But I thought it was just the lady, and she was just going to bump into him, and like I didn't know it was a ghost version of her. I thought it was just her.
Jeez.
But then when her face comes up the side, and it's got like the eyes are missing, and it's just like a ghoul sort of thing. That was a good one as well.
Yeah, Maddie was just mentioning the puppet one too. No, that's a really good idea that I've never seen done in.
The little punch Judy sort of thing.
yeah, that was cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I did too.
How those girls explain away what they saw when they're under the sheet though, and just say, "Oh, we just scared each other." No,
No, you didn't.
no, sorry.
Oh, was that your hand? The black thing that came up and grabbed me by the face.
Yeah, like.
The bit where Lapali has his fingers broken.
Oh, they get bent back. Jeez.
Just about maybe.
Because they don't just get peeled off; they peel back and curl the right way.
Dislikes, that was uncomfortable.
I thought it was going to be I didn't think that was going to happen at all. I thought it was going to be like he's straining here. I thought what's going to happen? He's just going to collapse and he's going to be dead or something. But then the fingers start going and they just linger on it. They show every one of them.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was messed up.
I don't know about you, but I'm letting go of that shit after the first one goes.
Yeah, you reckon, drop the cross.
I also really like that bit where Annabelle's at the table, at the little table for tea.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she gets up and starts going.
Oh, it turns into
And
a
gets all tall and shit.
Yeah.
That was when she got her mum's face.
Yeah, that was creepy shit too. And she's jerking, and I really like those bits.
Yeah, that was excellent. I like the scarecrow too. When
Yeah.
Yeah, the scarecrow wasn't bad.
Scarecrow with the headlights until the demon stuff came in. I didn't really like anything associated with the demon.
No.
Yeah, when it was in the headlights and the head starts lifting up and turning towards them, that was.
And the girl's like, girls, look at this. And then he's gone.
Yeah.
The suspense in the barn when she's at the top of the ladder, I thought was top notch.
Yeah, trying to hold the light bulb.
And then when the light gets cracked by hand out of nowhere, that was I thought because you knew something was going to happen, you were waiting for it. I thought that was a really nice way to do it.
Yeah.
She did very well to get out of that though, alive. Like he had her for dead to rights for all money.
Yeah.
I thought all that, and then he does the Xander Cage on the roof, doesn't he? I thought all of those scares they were just measured. They weren't jump scares. They were just well directed, kind of
crafted.
Yeah, thinking where's this coming from? Where's it going to go? And then getting the payoff, and they all really worked.
Yeah. I think
They did a good job of holding your interest, even if it did take a bit too long. I think they held the interest in parts really, really well.
I didn't have any others. Any other dislikes? Or likes, sorry?
I sort of stopped taking notes halfway through. I thought the middle of the movie is just from there on it's on like a steady decline all the way to the end. And like I said, it just sort of got too long. But I did think that the main girl that was the polio, she was the pick of the whole movie for me. Like, she did a lot of different notes really, really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's done much other stuff, but she's got a future, I'd say.
That scene where she was outside, I'm like, she's safe, it's daytime. And then the nun walks off, I'm like, shit, what's going to happen now?
She starts getting pushed randomly by someone else, you know?
Yeah.
That stuff was
zombie nun.
Again, that was creepy, sort of interesting stuff.
But it was good. I hadn't seen that before, and I liked it.
I was with you, because you think, daytime, she's obviously in the clear.
She's safe.
No.
We'll put her in the sun. She's under a tree.
Yeah, it's a bit of that
Nice
subconscious kind of, you know.
Any other lights?
She's fine. No,
anything else that comes through?
That was me, pretty much.
All right, dislikes. Look, for me, overall, if you're looking at the film as a whole, it feels like a number of really well executed creepy scenes, but not really much. It's held together by a pretty slim plot.
Yeah.
And the characters' motivations and stuff are at best a little bit murky. They don't really come together well.
None of it does.
Yeah, I think that's a massive downfall, is that you've got these really cool sequences, but then when you pull it all together, you don't really get anything out of it.
Yeah, like it's strong enough to carry you along for a little bit, but then the payoff to any of the characters or any of the where it's going is just not good enough. Like I actually really liked the mystery around whether LaPaglia and his wife were in on it for some reason, and it dragged that out for a bit. But then the payoff to both of them felt really unsatisfactory. You get the girl with polio, as Gibbo said, she does a really strong job, and her friend, for all money, seems to be the supporting character.
Then she takes over.
And the other one becomes evil and never gets saved, and it's kind of really unsatisfying in that regard too. So,
but also the nun is also seemingly kind of the heroine as well.
They're like the protagonist.
It doesn't seem to fix itself on a protagonist and decide that's their film.
Yeah,
it kind of jumps around. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
And if it tidies a little bit up there, and maybe drags a little bit of that emotional stuff with the girl getting killed at the start to the end of the film, and pays off with the family somehow, and ties that to the two little girls, like I can see it being like a 3.5.
Yeah.
Like a really solid movie that I'd probably go back to, you know.
Could they have got, when they do that last sequence, could they have got anyone that looked less like Janice to do the grown-up version when she murders her parents? Like the little girl looks exactly like Katherine Heigl. Get her to be the grown-up version would have been perfect casting.
That would have destroyed cinema.
She had cinema.
Oh, I know that. She's a shit human, but she would have been at least like the other girls.
I could have dealt with her in a 1 minute role.
Yeah. There's no explanation of why her. Like I read the synopsis for it. Apparently, that guy's in like a death cult. Her boyfriend when they're grown up.
That's all I could think. She's roped in.
There's no explanation. In
but
because I read it
because Annabelle, the original Annabelle, came first. So this is the prequel. There's obviously a tie up to that end.
Yeah, but I haven't seen the original one.
Neither have I. So I just was kind of sitting there going.
I don't because I read the synopsis. I'm like, that why? But they didn't tell you any part of it.
To me, the little girl getting killed by the car happened so early on. You don't really get to know LaPaglia and family much.
No.
And so it kind of you don't really sort of feel. I didn't particularly feel I cared that much for the ghost, the ghost girl.
No.
Like I was kind of like,
you just know
so it's obviously the little girl,
I just didn't buy that.
How it happened, I didn't really care.
I just didn't buy that they were going to share their life with anyone because he was so sad and miserable.
Morose,
why would he want people around him?
Yeah. But also,
no explanation for it.
We've done this bad thing, which you find out, and they're like, we're going to redeem ourselves by bringing the girls in.
Yeah.
As soon as something looks a bit fishy, you're getting those kids out of your house.
Yeah, that's right.
You already knew
Even with
that you had made a deal with this demon to have this little girl back. You're not inviting people around.
Yeah, that's right.
Forget about trying to make amends.
It's too late for that.
To me, that was that on its own was one big dislike. That the whole explanation is we prayed to whoever would let us have our daughter back, and then this demon came in. I'm just like, what the fuck?
The demon was like, I just need someone to give me this opening, and I'm in.
Yeah. It was
the whole explanation's stupid.
It had to be, for me, it had to be something with the girl that, like, you know, I could see why they didn't go there. Like why she would have been a malevolent spirit. Like the demon just didn't do it for me anyway.
She needed to be buried in Indian burial.
Coming back to what you were saying about Pet Sematary, that's basically what Pet Sematary offered.
Yeah.
Was they wanted their children back, and so he took an approach by burying it up there, which then turned her into
sour ground. Yeah.
But the way that did it was that it brought back and kind of dealt with the grief, whereas this one was just like, we'll push the grief off to the side and bring this guy with horns on his head who looks a bit creepy and he'll do all the work.
Yeah.
It just didn't work for me at all. Oh, speaking of, did you notice one of the scares that I didn't particularly like turned into a real big like when Annabelle was was under the stairs, I think, where they're playing hide and seek.
Oh, yeah, and she gets dragged off.
Just gets dragged off. Did you see the face?
Huh?
The demon's face is in the black just above it.
Yeah.
alright.
I didn't notice it, and then I kind of saw a glimpse and rewound it a couple of times, and all you see is those little eyes.
The green eyes.
You see the eyes, and then you see like the glint of kind of horns. I was just like, holy shit, that went from really generic to really fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Because I saw that face, but then I was looking at it, it's so faint
Yeah.
that so many people would have just missed it.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and have a look at that again.
I feel like horror movies, they're really marginalising orphans. I feel bad for orphans.
Think of
It's
the
not
orphans.
bad enough for the...
You don't think the orphans market
Not only are they orphans,
correctly?
they're also being attacked by demons and other supernatural elements.
Because you have no parents.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Are the older girls just bullying the other two because one of them's got polio?
I don't know.
There's not really an explanation as to why, because it's not an age thing, because they've got the other two younger girls that are with them as well in like the quote-unquote cool group. And then the little girl with the Lego hair and the one with polio get like pushed off to the side for some reason.
Yeah, it would seem that to me it looked a little bit like that, but I don't know. It could have been that they were older and yeah.
Well, it wasn't well explained. I didn't tell her to say that.
But again, you know, at that time period that they were setting the film in, it could have just been that, you know, someone with disease was just get them away. Like
Yeah.
that was
But
kind of.
even the scene you were talking about where they tell her to go and hide, and then they're like, yeah, we might go and look for you. Like, oh, she's in for a tough time.
Yeah, that was just like she's guilty by association. Like you're her buddy.
Storage spots under the stairs, though, when you were younger, like, no one wanted to go under the stairs. Like,
Nah.
that's a bad spot to be, you know? Like, as soon as she's in there looking out through that grate, and you're like, oh, fuck, this is shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nothing's going to happen.
I was always into the self-preservation. I'm like, I really want to win this game of hide and seek,
But not over there.
But I'm not going in there.
You know, you know what's going to win it for me? I'm going to go stand behind those curtains with my sister.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do I go to the cupboard or do I stand out in the open where I can be spotted quite easily?
Three areas of digress, so I've got a way out. Yeah. No thanks. Under the stairs can jam it.
Yeah.
They don't really circumvent the tropes. They give you exactly what you expect. As cool as that sequence was with the sheep, as soon as she throws it on Annabelle, yeah, you know it's getting up.
Yeah.
You know it. Like, you're just waiting for it.
Especially because the whole scene, after that,
the whole
you're looking at it the whole
exactly
time.
where the camera is set, you know that it's going to get up.
Yeah.
When the girl, she comes into the room and sees the little girl staring out the window, she says, "Is something wrong?" She turns around and she's got a demon face, you know. Classic
Just
shit.
Evil Dead for a second.
Yeah.
Your soul.
Yeah, like you get it's exactly the same with the pop gun. You know, she's firing it into the darkened hallway. You just know something's going to get hold of it.
Yeah.
So the tropes are there, but they just go straight down the line.
Yeah.
They don't
And the
take
fact
them
that
anywhere that you.
they overuse the dark areas hiding things and the silence. Like, when things go quiet, straight away you're like, oh, I better get ready, there's a jump scare coming. Like, it telegraphs everything.
Yeah.
The biggest example I thought was the chair going down the stairs, because I was like, that thing is pretty damn slow.
You know it's coming back up.
And you know, you knew straight away that was going to come back in, and then when she was on it going down, and then it was coming back up, you're just like, oh,
Yeah,
I know that she's just going to get out of this.
It was classic Chekhov's, whatever. As soon as you
Chekhov's
see it, Chekhov's chairlift. As soon as you see it, you just know, somewhere along the line, this is going to come back in for a scare of some kind.
Yep.
And of course it did. It does. Like, only about 10 minutes later, I think it comes back in.
Even the first time you see that, though, you see you get to the top of the stairs and there's the little shadow of the girl in the background. That's the stuff that was still working.
Yeah.
But when she falls over, when the demon throws her over the balcony there, at one point it's got its claws dug into the back of her legs. How do they explain that away with a fall from the stairs? Wouldn't you look at the back and go, oh, something's obviously got her? Like, things like that. If you
that darn polio, mate.
Polio does weird things.
polio and puncture wounds.
No one trusts orphans. This is what I'm
You're
learning.
right, Matty. Yeah.
This is what I'm learning. Sorry to the orphans out there.
They're going to get a superhero movie soon, so they should be happy. The whole thing about like we've said it about other movies, but it doesn't really define what the demon can and can't do.
Yeah.
And it's totally inconsistent. Like, what does it actually want? Because 1 minute it's dropping the girl from the top of the stairs, but then it seems to inhabit her body. So what's it fucking doing? What does it want? And it toys with her for nights on end in the room, but other people it just goes for.
Yeah.
And then the mother, it seems to have no issues causing her a heck of a lot of damage, but everyone else seems to escape, and like it's totally inconsistent.
Yeah, like the girl in the barn. Like
it's just like you walked into my room, now you're dead.
Yeah, basically that seems
just
how it's been handled.
It's just frustrating because it's, again, it goes back to the script. It's pretty weak about what its motivation for being there is, and what.
If Anthony Parley really doesn't want anyone in the room, lock the door, mate.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's got the little cover lock is the only thing. Yeah, you'd have it boarded up, deadbolts, locks, everything.
Yeah.
It was the main issue that I had with It Follows was the same thing, just the inconsistency with how something that's supposed to be just this one-minded killing machine to punish people, and then plays with something's hair for some reason. When it's got a clear opportunity to kill. And anyone else, it's just jumping on and murdering them,
It's not sleeping under the bed for the night.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's... Yeah, I don't know. It was just frustrating.
This probably comes back to the fact that it's an hour and 49 minutes, but coming up with key exposition points at like the hour 20 mark, hour 25.
Too late.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's way too late. I couldn't have given a rat's ring when you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care less. I couldn't care less. In fact, I quickly had to jump back because, there's a couple of minutes where he's talking about what that they made the deal and all that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, maybe I didn't understand all that. I better go back and just do it. I had to go and do it again because I didn't actually know. I hadn't picked it up. I kind of just was waiting for it because I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, I wasn't fully paying attention.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. All right. So, had the movie been a little bit shorter, which I think it could have been.
Definitely, yeah.
15 to 20 easy.
Yeah, the exposition would have been coming in at the 45, 50 minute mark, something like that, which would have made more sense, perhaps.
There's a couple of nods earlier on that, like, they give you the hint that the parents are in on it. But at that point, you're like, well, wouldn't you just get these other girls out of there? That's the thing that sort of leads you down the wrong path, because you think, if they knew about it, they wouldn't have invited all these other girls in. The only other thing I was thinking at that point is maybe they need another girl for their daughter's soul to inhabit that instead of the doll.
That's what I was thinking to start with.
But that doesn't kind of
It never plays out.
It's like going along with that too. What actually happens at the end? Because I thought when they take the doll away, and again, I probably need to go to the first Annabelle movie. I don't really want to, because I've heard it's not very good. But, so the doll goes away, the girl goes somewhere different. So how is the doll still haunted? Because the demon's in the girl, isn't it?
Why was the doll still haunted? I didn't think it was when he threw it in the trunk.
Well, how do we get another movie about the doll if the doll's not haunted?
Yeah.
The priest says everything here is clean. It's all been expunged, and then
Who
you see
wants
her.
the doll?
And he holds her by the neck.
Who wants this? Gets
You light it on
have
fire, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, no thanks.
You can have it.
Yeah, so I thought when that happened...
Yeah, because my thinking
doll's
is just
gone
like
away.
you. The doll's...
The girl's found in the orphanage and calling herself Annabelle.
But the
Which
doll's
still seems
useless
to
now,
still
isn't
be the
it?
demon.
Yeah.
Because we found out that the daughter's not really a malevolent spirit. It was the demon all along.
Yeah.
So is the doll necessary at any stage after that?
Well, the priest said it's
think
not.
so.
He said it's basically just a doll in a boot at this point. So
Yeah.
whatever happens
So
in the
is the
next
next movie 90 minutes of a doll just fucking sitting there?
still looks creepy. Just do that. No wonder it's not a popular movie. Maybe she gets killed and the spirit goes back into the doll or something. I don't know.
New
But
deal.
Unless the priest is just flat out wrong, but it does specifically show when it spews the black shit into Janice. That's the transference. Like after that, the doll is like an extension of her.
Yeah.
But then
That's what I thought.
Then it just gets left behind.
So I thought he's gone. Maybe he just spewed it a little bit. He spewed half into Annabelle and kept
He's
it.
hedging his bets.
Yeah, I better just play,
Play it safe.
Let's say.
That ending though, those sort of endings where you get absolutely no resolution to anything in the movie, they bug the shit out of me. Like
Really?
all
Really
we've gone
bugs
through
me.
all of this, and this poor little girl is still like.
But again, this is part and parcel of your whole universe building.
Yeah.
If you haven't got a
Because
satisfying
one of the
ending.
problems with these universe things is they just finish these movies on a cliffhanger or some shit, and I'm always just like, no,
Unsatisfied.
I don't want the cliffhanger.
No.
I just want one film as a package as it is. Like,
I just figured that it was going to be the thing goes back into the doll and Janice is going to be fine. We're happy, that we get something at the ending.
and it's a doll that's been shipped to someone or some shit like that.
We got the downer ending, and then we got it didn't make sense anyway because it's not in the doll. So what the fuck's the doll?
All it needed to be is, the demon jumps back into the doll.
Yep, and
then
the doll
police
ends
turn
up
up.
in
The police go,
someone
don't be
else's-
silly, dolls aren't haunted. They take it away, and it gets given to another family. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the little girl, the Janice character, is the one that you actually care about. She's the best actor in the group. You're obviously invested in her more than Lego hair.
But again, there's your
And as
problem.
much as I didn't mind Linda, but she'd already been played as like the offsider for an hour or whatever.
She's the backup.
So by the time she comes in, it's kind of like, we don't really.
Well, that's it.
We're not pulling for you because all the harsh shit really happened to the other girl.
You got Janice, who's the protagonist for an hour, then replaced with
Linda, and
Linda,
then
back to, but almost back to Janice at the end.
yeah, kind of. Even though she's
Even though she's the villain, she's now we switch back to her.
she's
so
the main character of the movie, though.
It sort of jumped all over the joint, and it didn't work. It was really sort of clumsy the way they made that switch with her. The last dislike I had was it just kind of piles in the middle. It starts piling on creepy scene, followed by jump scare, followed by lucky escape. And then back, and rinse and repeat.
But
Let's
they're
just
all
do it
the
again.
same. Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
where the
like,
20 minutes could have been cut out.
and I'm just thinking to myself, you're actually ruining the effective ones.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're just covering them in all this bullshit that's going on.
If they had culled it, the other effective ones would have had much more impact because we didn't get all the ones with the, like you said, overuse of the darkness or the doors opening or like
things in the background, all that stuff.
When we watched The Exorcist,
I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah.
when you watch The Exorcist, there are long stretches where they're talking about religion and faith and things like that, and then out of the blue, out of nowhere, that demon face just appears on screen for a second.
They lift the mood.
And you're like, fuck, what the hell's that? Like you are legitimately freaked out.
They lift the
It
mood
comes
in
out
The
of nowhere.
Exorcist. They lift the mood, and it's about human relationships. And in this one, it's sort of like it's either like high with excitement or completely flat.
Yeah.
Like there's
You're
not getting.
A graph of this movie
Yeah.
is just boom, 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 up, down,
Up,
up, down,
and
up,
down.
down, up, down, like that. Whereas The Exorcist is the kind of movie that just
It goes
builds, and just plateaus out to super scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
unsettling.
then it goes back down,
Yeah.
and then to a point where it's actually like happy and you're feeling a bit satisfied with what's going on.
Well, you get a resolution. That's the difference.
And this is the problem with some of these new horror films.
Yeah.
I feel like David Sandberg gets plenty of credit from me because he wrung as much out of it as he possibly could.
Yeah.
Because I think, the rest of it was a little bit weaker, so he had to just squeeze those scares out for as long as he can, and it just inevitably overused them because for some reason it was determined that it'd be a fucking, nearly a 2-hour runtime.
And the same problem occurred with Lights Out. Those
Well, I actually
creepy
thought-
sequences were there,
Yeah.
but again, it had no plot.
Much better than Lights Out because
Yeah.
Lights Out was the jump scares for the
Yeah.
most part. It was set up, the lights on, lights off stuff. It kind of had to be jump scares for a lot of it. And I mean, the best thing he ever did with Lights Out was the fucking short film.
Yeah, the
before
short film,
movie.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that was essentially.
In fact, the
best
movie was
scare
a
you could get out
mistake,
of that.
almost,
Yeah.
in my mind. It wasn't necessary. But my feeling is, I'll give him a bit of credit because I think he tried everything he possibly could to wring out some tension, and he does.
Yeah.
But they just code it in all these... They just couldn't help themselves. You got to breathe sometimes, but they knew they didn't have anything to breathe with.
Yeah, and I think that's what
rocking chair was good. I did like the rocking chair. The dolls in the chair, and then
Yeah, it starts to rock.
dolls disappeared.
Yeah.
That was the other thing, like, these kids, like you're talking about motivations earlier, Adzi, like why they do things. If you look through a keyhole and there's a doll rocking on a chair, you're not going, I'm cracking this door, I'm going in. No, sorry, you're going, tiptoeing back to bed, I'm going under the doona, and I'm staying there.
Where's Mr. Lapaldi with the no more gaps anyway? Seal up the keyholes. You can't open this.
Yeah. you seal that joint up tight?
Yeah. Fucking put a big picture there, big like floor to ceiling mirror. No one knows it's even a door. So the subliminal scenes you're talking about in The Exorcist, it always reminds me when you bring that up of the Tyler Durden scenes when he splices in pictures of a dick. You know, the cigarette burns when I splice in pictures of the kid starts crying, and I'm like, that's so good. Love that shit.
That's all. They talk about that in the book too. It's so good.
Yeah.
That was it for me as far as dislikes were concerned.
Yep.
Anyone else?
No, I'm out.
Done.
I think we nailed it.
Done deal.
Now to the wall, half a torso.
That was,
Enjoy that, Miranda.
yeah. Cop that. That was Annabelle Creation. Short and sharp. Punched through that one quite quickly. Now, nobody's interested in Annabelle?
No,
thanks.
Nah.
Hard pass.
Well,
I believe it's
next week, don't you? Annabelle.
all the word I've got is this one was
Way better.
miles better.
That's what I thought too, yeah.
Yeah, I heard the first one wasn't good.
Where does it stand in doll movies? Is it above or below Chucky in Child's Play?
Chucky's miles ahead of this. Miles. Chucky 6 and 7 are ahead of this.
Jesus.
6 and 7, Jesus. Alright, well look, if you want to get in touch with us, send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook, Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and an Instagram at thrillme podcast. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for more details of our next film. I'm assuming we will do the Meg sooner rather than later. Once
Yes.
you guys get yourself into
Once
check
I
it
can
out.
convince Maddie to actually come and see it.
Well, yeah, I played my cards perfectly. I said to my wife about a week ago, so what do you reckon, the Meg? No way. She says. Right, so I left it. I let it cool. But then I came back with, I sent her a text. Now, what about the Meg on Friday night? Free tickets? I've got free tickets. And she's like, yeah.
You're giving me a battle plan here.
It could be a lot worse, honestly.
I would have come in early, just like you don't give the out, you give it two options. So I was, what do you reckon, the Meg or Skyscraper? No one's going to see Skyscraper, so they're going to see Meg.
And what you always do is you go like this. My go-to move is, she goes, what else is on?
It's the old
I
theory.
look nothing. I'm always playing there's nothing else on, as if she won't check the net or anything like she won't look it up.
It's the old theory, mate. If you think you're giving someone a choice, but both options are satisfactory to you. So.
I actually went there to watch Fallout, and it was already over. It started at 6:30, and I got to the mall at 7. I'm like, oh well, Meg it is. And I actually had to hang around till a 9 o'clock showing. It was 7 o'clock.
Oh shit! What'd you do?
I walked around Kmart for a bit. Went and got a 45-minute massage.
I'm going to say Kmart would have only taken 5, wouldn't it?
I'd lined up the evening off to go and watch a movie. I wasn't going home without watching a movie.
Yeah,
So.
right, fair enough.
But I wasn't angry. Like,
Did you tell Riley you went and saw Gone with the Wind?
I was really long, Riley.
Yeah, shit, I've been out of Gone with the Wind for an hour.
I told her I went to a Chinese massage house and got a massage. It's totally legit.
Yeah, where was it? It was upstairs. As I was walking in, there was a cockfighting ring going on.
Some old people paying mahjong and counting cocaine money. It's good.
It's totally legit.
It looked like a henchman's lair out of a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. But I wasn't angry, man. I was angry after Skyscraper. This is what Skyscraper should have... It was much, much better.
Yeah.
And it didn't rip off
And
Die
that's-
Hard,
yeah,
which makes me upset.
It was much, much better. And that's saying something. It was shit, but it was still much, much better than
I won't give away my marks, but I wasn't angry.
No, I wasn't angry either, strangely enough. Alright, well, look, that'll do it for Annabelle Creation. Until next time, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.